These are the most popular gaming laptops you guys bought in 2023. We're able to see which laptops were bought if you use those links below the video. And this lets us analyze all the laptops everyone is buying and see which CPUs and GPUs are most popular in 2023. First of all, not everyone was buying a brand new 2023 gaming laptop in 2023. Our links sold over 3,500 gaming laptops in 2023, but 41% of all gaming laptops purchased this year were actually last-gen 2022 models, while only 4% of people went for older 2021 models this year. This makes sense, as this year's low to mid-range RTX 40 series GPUs don't offer much FPS gain over last-gen RTX 30 series. Let's start out with GPUs next. Out of all gaming laptops purchased this year, Nvidia graphics accounted for 91% of the GPUs, with AMD only taking a small piece of the pie. This isn't unexpected. Out of like 35 gaming laptops we reviewed this year, we only received one Radeon option. There just aren't many Radeon options available. Now, if we dig into the 55% of 2023 models that were sold this year, we can see that gaming laptops with RTX 4060 graphics made up the majority of sales, with almost a third. Almost a quarter of new 2023 models had RTX 4070 graphics, and then less than a fifth went with the higher tier RTX 4080, while just 8% went for the higher tier 4090. I'm kind of surprised that the RTX 4050 only accounts for 8%, just like the 4090. I just expected it would be higher, but perhaps most people wanted the extra VRAM with the 4060. The RX 7600S from the ASUS TUF A16 makes up just 2% of GPU sales. The Z1 Extreme from the ROG Ally is 2% too. And while technically not a gaming laptop, I did make a video comparing it against a gaming laptop, and people may have chosen it instead. Alright, now these are the 2022 models that were sold during 2023, which accounts for 41% of total gaming laptop sales this year. Most people chose the RTX 3070 Ti, which makes perfect sense, as it performs very similarly to the RTX 4070, but is often hundreds of dollars cheaper. You don't get features like DLSS 3 frame generation, but clearly a lot of you don't care. RTX 3060 gaming laptops take up a fairly big chunk of 2022 model sales this year, but there's more Radeon share too. The RX 6700S is in ASUS's Zephyrus G14 from 2022, and quite a few people picked up last year's G14 on sale this year. I was quite surprised at just how low the shares were for the cheaper entry-level options, like the GTX 1650, RTX 2050, and 3050. Compared to the rest, hardly anyone is going for these. I mean, I get it, they kind of suck. But at the same time, the comments on YouTube are super vocal about us covering more budget options. But then it turns out hardly anyone actually buys them, at least in the US. Only 4% of gaming laptops sold in 2023 were older 2021 models. But there's a bigger AMD Radeon share this time. The 6800M comes from the ASUS Strix G15 Advantage Edition, which had some great sales earlier on in the year, while the 6700M comes from MSI's Delta 15, again due to good sales on older models. The RTX 3060 was the most popular though, which mostly came from the 2021 version of the ASUS Zephyrus G14, once again due to some pretty awesome sales on older hardware. Just before we look at the CPU breakdown, these are the average prices in US dollars for gaming laptops with each GPU. Sales come from both this YouTube channel as well as the GamingLaptop.deals website that we run, link below. So results may be skewed a little lower if lots of people bought during nice sales. An average price of $2,200 US for RTX 4080 gaming laptops is actually quite good, and is heavily skewed by the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i, which has had some good sales over the last few months. $1,432 is the average cost of an RTX 4070 gaming laptop, while a 4060 typically costs you $200 less. RTX 4050 laptops have come down quite a bit in the last few months too, and now have an average price of $924. But we have seen sales on good mid-range options as low as $750. AMD's 7600S in the ASUS TUF A16 performs about the same as the 4050, but is usually available for less money. Interestingly, more was spent on last year's RTX 3050 with 4 gigs of VRAM compared to this year's version with 6 gigs. as the 4GB version was held up by a pricey Strix G15. It's a little sad to see that more was spent on GTX 1650 laptops than RTX 2050, because the RTX 2050 performs way better. Let's get into the CPUs next, where AMD have a bigger market share compared to GPUs, but they're still beaten easily by Intel, who made up 2/3 of our gaming laptop sales this year. To be fair, this year AMD options typically launched later, so that's probably why. Here's how things look if we dig into the 55% of 2023 gaming laptops sold in 2023. I was honestly surprised to see the i9-13900HX take the win here, with 22% of 2023 gaming laptops using that processor. I don't know, it just seems fairly overkill for gaming, but I guess a lot of gaming laptops use it. AMD's most popular processor was the Ryzen 7 7840HS, making up just 6% of 2023 model sales, though the Ryzen 9 7940HS accounts for almost the same amount. Both chips are basically the same. The higher tier Ryzen 9 only has a slightly higher boost clock, so it's not really worth paying extra for. Intel's most powerful CPU this year, the i9-13980HX, is in a similar boat. It only has a little clock speed bump over the most popular 13900HX, and isn't really worth paying the premium for, which most of you seem to agree with. Some cheaper 2023 gaming laptops paired with 2023 GPUs featured CPUs from last gen, like the i7-12700H, while AMD's 7735HS is basically a rebranded 6800H. Let's not forget that 41% of gaming laptops sold in 2023 were last gen 2022 models, and out of those, the 12700H makes up the majority, with the 6800H in second place, with both combined accounting for more than half of all 2022 models. These were super popular CPUs last year, which is probably why my comparison video got like 600,000 views. Only 4% of gaming laptops sold this year were even older 2021 models, but even more of those had AMD CPUs. Either no one likes the Intel i7-11800H in 2023, or there weren't as many older Intel models still available for sale. Here's how everything breaks down in terms of gaming laptop brands, with Lenovo and Asus taking a big lead compared to all other brands with more than 1/3 of the market share each. Acer was next with 12% of sales, then everything else was much lower. Unfortunately, there are some constraints here. Electronics, for example, don't have their own affiliate program, so we've got no idea how many people bought their laptops directly through their website. This tiny 0.2% only accounts for the newly released RP15, which they sell through Amazon. Let's dive into the specific models that made up the 39% of Lenovo sales. The most popular Lenovo laptop sold this year was the Legion Pro 7i, making up almost 30% of all Lenovo laptop sales, with the Pro 5i in second place at 20%. So the new 2023 Legions account for half of all Lenovo sales this year. I think the Slim 5 is a great mid-range option this year, but it only came out a few months ago, so it doesn't have a big share yet. On the more budget side, the Lock 15 sold better than the 16, which I thought was interesting, as the 16 is basically the same but with more screen real estate. Next up, we've got Asus, who account for 36% of all gaming laptop sales this year. The Zephyrus M16 takes the lead here, and is one of the best-selling laptops all year. If I had to guess, this is probably a result of me putting it at the top of the mid-year top 5 laptops video a few months ago. 2/3 of M16 sales were 2023 models, while 1/3 was last year's 2022 model. Unfortunately, this graph gets way too full if we break it down further to include the year of the laptop. Asus's Zephyrus G14 was super popular too, accounting for 19% of all Asus sales this year, but almost half of them were last year's 2022 model. The TUF F15 is quite high too, making up 10% of the Asus sales, with last year's version making up 20%, so 80% of F15s were 2023 models. It's different with the TUF A15. There's a 50-50 split between 2023 and 2022 models. Meanwhile, Acer made up 12% of all gaming laptop sales this year, with last year's Helios 300 making up the majority. This laptop had some great sales this year, with RTX 3060 and 3070 Ti GPUs, and really outsold their newer RTX 40 series laptops. A third of all Acer laptop sales were the budget-friendly Nitro 5, but again, 62% of these were last year's 2022 model due to great sales. The RTX 3070 Ti Nitro 5 has gone as low as $930 on our GamingLaptop.deals website. Again, link can be found below if you want to save money on your next gaming laptop. We didn't even get to review the Helios 16 or Nitro 17 this year, but they still made up 15% of Acer sales. Let's go with HP next, who made up 5% of our total gaming laptop sales. Most of you went for the Omen 17, but 91% of these were last year's 2022 model with RTX 3080 Ti graphics. Again, due to better sales on last-gen hardware. The Victus 16, on the other hand, was 95% 2023 models. Almost all of them had RTX 2050 graphics, which technically is last-gen, but it's paired with a 2023 CPU. MSI makes up less than 4% of total gaming laptop sales this year, with their Katana 15 coming out on top. This was one of the cheapest RTX 4070 gaming laptops on the deal site, which I think explains why it's on top, despite the fact we didn't review it this year. It's a little sad to see the GF63 in second place, but it is the cheapest RTX 4050 gaming laptop. It started out at $1,000 near the start of the year, but it's more like $650 these days. Likewise, the GP68 was the cheapest RTX 4080 gaming laptop this year by a few $100 at $1,700 on sale, so I'm not surprised to see that near the top of the list, even though it had a bad screen. Dell and Alienware make up about 2% of laptop sales. And like some other brands, the most popular model was from last year, the Alienware M17 in this case. Gigabyte laptops made up less than 1% of all sales. Out of this list, we only reviewed the G5. The Aorus 17X we covered apparently didn't have any sales. A few people bought from XMG in Europe, our only non-US data point. But at this point, we're talking about just 18 sales, which made up about 0.5% of total sales. Razer's more premium laptops only accounted for 0.3% of sales, so not many people at all are buying them from us. We didn't sell any Razer Blade 18s at all. Most people were going for either this year's new Blade 16 or last year's Blade 15 with 3070 Ti. Massive shout out to my partner who spent the last few days making those graphs. Seriously, she saved me a lot of time, and without her expert Excel skills, we might never have gotten to this point. Alright, so the main takeaways for me are that a lot of you are still buying 2022 models. Presumably because Nvidia's new RTX 40 series are just less interesting at the lower to mid-range. But those who did decide that they wanted new GPUs mostly went for RTX 4060 or 4070 laptops. There's only really a nice FPS boost compared to last gen if you're willing to spend more for the 4080. But with an average price of more than $2,200 US, almost $800 more compared to the 4070 below it, well, not everyone has RTX 4080 money. It's hard to say if brands like Asus and Lenovo are actually the most popular, or if they had the most sales because of my videos. These results definitely seemed biased towards the laptops I've said were good throughout the year. Now, if you haven't bought a gaming laptop this year, but are still planning and don't want to break the bank, then check out this video next, where I share the top 3 budget gaming laptops this year. So if you're looking to save some money, I'll see you in that one next.